Welcome to the HyPrix Porsche Cup, presented by GT Champions.
Well, what a race that was in Division 1. But there is something very special coming now, and that is Division 2. I am Urban Pirate, of course, from Black Flag Racing TV, and I'm here to bring you all the action. I did that with a hand gesture. All the action from Division 2 here. Round 5 at Autopolis. I had a couple of technical issues yesterday, which manifested-ish, I think. I've got to the bottom of them. They will be all properly sorted over the next week or so as the new equipment arrives. But it's all about the two HyPrix boys at the moment. And we have a new addition to Division 2. You may have heard him last night. Tyler Lansdale, otherwise known as the super quick driver. He basically joined me in the I couldn't think of the word, commentary yesterday for Division 3, and it was a really awesome race. That not much water, but a little bit. There was a bit more in the Division 1. We'll see what we'll get in Division 2. But quickly, let's have a look at what happened last time out. So there we are, and Kaizan won 18 points for him. One out in Division. Sorry, that's Division 3. I apologise. See, I'm still having these technical issues, and I don't know why they're still happening. There we go. That's where we're currently at. I'll sort out that document in a minute, actually. So that is where we currently stand in terms of Division 2 Championship. I don't know why these documents aren't going where they're supposed to be going, but I will. Oh, let me find it. Where is it? Division 2 results. There we go. This should be correct now. Let's make sure. There we go, that's better. That's what happened at Daytona last week. So By the Roses and Bipolar Express absolutely dominated that race. Fastest lap for Bipolar and pole position for Bipolar. But in the race, he just couldn't get past his teammate Roses. And he absolutely dominated. But a 1-2 for HyPrix. HPR already promoted from Division 3 into Division 2 and bringing the big guns with him. What a battle at the end. HPR, Parafusio, Venom, all involved, Lipe involved. It was just crazy. But HPR took the third spot. And this is where it's left us in terms of the standings. And that is the correct standings from last week. By the Roses extends his lead at the top of the leaderboard to 73 points. Remember, after today, it's drop round. So we will find out. Probably tomorrow, once it's all jiggly-jugglied, we'll find out where everybody sits after that drop round. But at the moment, the two HyPrix boys are the ones to beat. HPR, after his promotion already, powering his way to the top of the leaderboard. So, without further ado, let's have a little chat about why we're here and how we do this. It's all because of HyPrix. They do some amazing stuff, and all these really great graphics you see, they come from HyPrix. They do the sim racing, they do the graphic design, they do sports graphics, clothing, overlays, data design, liveries, web design. It'll probably even shine your shoes and cook you breakfast if you ask nicely enough. They're absolutely brilliant. And they, in turn, are supported by these guys. Passion, Performance, Podium, simracecity.com. And I just wish I had the money for a rig that looked like that. Although, to be fair, if I put that in my front room, I would get beaten up. Right, so qualifying is just starting. So I think we'll jump across into the room and get cracking with it, shall we? So, you know who I am. Don't need to go on about all of that. Let's get rid of that and let's get cracking with the qualifying. So, who have we got out there today? That's quite important. We need to bring up. Boom. Things are working slightly better. I've even got the right overlay. How about that? It's almost like I'm a professional. I'm not, but it's almost like I am. Right, so HPR at the moment leading them out. He is going to be the one first one to put a lap out. I'm still waiting for someone to tell me how I can get rid of this stupid BGM music. When every time I jump into a lobby, I get it for the first couple of minutes, and it's so annoying because I've got it turned off completely. I don't listen to it anywhere. I don't get it when I'm not in the lobby, so why do I get it when I jump into the actual race? Who knows? So HBR is out on his out lap. It is a little bit damp out there at the moment, but I don't think anybody's gone damp on the tyres. We see a little bit of rain. Well, I did see a little bit of rain when we first come in, but it's not. It looks like it's dried out a little bit now, which is awesome. And who's that? That was that's Super Mikel parked facing a wall. You can't park that there, mate. Yeah, so wrong direction. Much better, much better. I do need to change some information because I want that. That's much better. That's the names we recognise them by. Gets confusing otherwise. So here we go. Here is the first hot lap. It's starting for HPO. He's going to get out there. He's going to whack around this track now. I'm expecting Division 2 qualifying times to be at the top end in the mid 45s. We know Division 1 are capable of doing 44s. Two distinct strategies for the race here. Two distinct strategies. You've got the one stop and the two stop. They both have their merits depending on pace. I think you'll find that the majority of these guys, certainly around the midfield, will be doing the two stop method, which will be 20 minutes, and that's it. And I do love this. I mean, if you look at the back of the car there, the way the lights shine off of that wing, it's a thing of absolute beauty. I just absolutely love it. It looks so cool. So HPR Bipolar Express is out there for HyPrix. Parafusio, a very racy guy, bringing Portuguese pace right to the heart of Gran Turismo 7. Method, there he is. He's in fourth. He's the American driver. Kaizan, who joined me in the commentary box yesterday, and today is going to demonstrate what kind of pace he can throw out here in Division 2. Looking forward to seeing his pace. Now, it was really, really good having him in the commentary box yesterday. It's good to get a kind of a driver's perspective. Parafusio off the track, that's not going to be good. Someone else just went off the track there as well. That's Wooly taking the scenic route. Yeah, as I was saying, having a driver like Kaizan, someone who's competed and won races involved in a commentary really kind of helps you understand what their mindset is when they're doing this. Because, let's face it, if commentators like me were that quick, we wouldn't be commentating, we'd be racing. The reason that I do this is because I can't keep up with these guys. But front row is By the Roses, getting himself out onto that front row from the outset. HPR joins him. That's a 144, 8/10 of a second difference already. And this is a really complicated technical track that requires every ounce of your concentration, particularly when it's damp, as it is now, and when it is dark, as it is now. Now, we're going to see the lights start to come to the racetrack somewhere about 15-20 minutes in, which is when we'll see the hopefully the track will dry out by then. We don't know though. It could remain mildly moist for the whole race. Bipolar Express puts himself on the second row, just nearly, we'll say 2 tenths back from HPR. Rusty Nuts with a 145.4 will be alongside him. He's the lead Australian driver. Quick Kick from the United States, 6 tenths back from Rusty Nuts. He's in fifth, and he's got Kaizan 4 tenths behind him, just after his first hot lap, of course. Method from the United States, half a second back. Then half a second back in eighth is J-Rod. He will join the Method on that fourth row. Row 5 will be another American driver. Lots of American drivers out there today. Venom on row 5 alongside Fry and the Whiskas. Bipolar Express takes pole position. Another pole for Bipolar Express, and technically he had it last week and this week. He is bipolar. He's bipolar because he got 2 poles last week and this. Very tenuous. Okay, Wooly, that puts him in a really good position now to row 3 immediately. Rusty Nuts, as the rain starts to come back down. Is this moving into the realms of intermediate tyres? I don't think so. I think we're still in the realms of the soft compound tyres, but some parts of the track don't appear to be raining where others do. If we look at J-Rod, his wipers are going off, so they are for method, they are for frying the whiskers. Parafusios are going, but then we look at Bipolar, they're intermittent, they're not going quite as quickly. Bite the Roses, he's stopping and starting again. It's interesting to see. From my perspective, the track looks dry. It doesn't look to be the kind of weather that requires. I'm complaining about what? I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining about it. But there we go. It's not. It's certainly not wet tyre weather. Hopefully, it stays this way. I prefer it when it's dry. This is a hard enough track as it is in the dry, let alone when it's wet. Let's get. I second what Chris was saying. I do miss having our keyboard controls. It's so much easier when you're a commentator to just go press a button and boom, you get the camera you want, you get the car you want. So Bipolar Express on pole. That's a 1:43.6. I'm talking about the qualified times being in the 45s, and then Bipolar goes and does a 1:43.6. He's got no business being in Division 2. This is a Division 1 driver that had a bit of bad luck in the qualifiers. Absolutely dominant. But then Bite the Roses, very similar sort of pace, low 44.0 for him. HPR 44.5 for him. So already my prediction of a mid 45, getting kicked right the butt and thrown into the street like the useless piece of information that it is. Parafusio 1:44.1. These times are tumbling, and we're seeing the same figures in and around. Kaizan is going to get himself involved in that in that kind of higher end. He is 1,000th of a second off the time of frying the whiskers. Didn't quite get to see his split time there, but it'd be interesting to see if he is able to improve upon his previous outings. 44.8 has been his fastest offering so far, and it's only good enough for row 3. Only good enough for row 3. It's good enough for row 3, and row 3 is not a bad place to be starting here. Obviously, depends on the kind of strategy you want to run. Just a couple of corners left, and this is a tricky part of the racetrack as you go under the googly eye bridge, as I like to call it, and you sweep around this right hand side. Now we'll see him sweep around before it just jinks back to the left, and then on that power fully as you head down towards the start finish line here, and that is row 2 for Kaizan. That's a 1:44.8. Welcome to Division 2, my friend. Welcome to Division 2. No, Slipstream, he didn't get the win bandit. He finished second in the end. He did get pole and he was leading, but he finished second in the end. After the pit stops, he was 3 seconds back and never made it up. But it was still a great drive from Slipstream. But thank you for asking. And next time, make sure you catch all of the race, and then you won't need to ask me the answers to these questions. I'm only joking, buddy. Only joking. Bipolar Express is still your pole sitter. 1:43.6. That is a blistering time, and I'm pretty sure there's no nitrous, but that is a nitrous using time. He's so quick. I'm not using nitrous, of course. I'm just saying he's so quick that anyone else to go that quick would need it. 4/10 back to Bite the Roses. 2 HyPrix drivers absolutely dominating Division 2 at the minute. And it's all about these are the guys to beat. Parafusio, Kaizan, HPR, Frying the Whiskers, all quick runners will all want to try and find some way to, even if they can split these guys up, something that they need to find something, and I don't know what it is, but it's very special the way they're racing at the moment. Let's look down at who we got languishing at the back of the pack at the moment. Method in 12th place. He's 1 second slower than Venom. Venom just off the back of J-Rod. Still plenty for them to get done. Quick Kicks is 600ths of a second back. That's the end of qualifying. Who's still setting a lap? Be interested to see if anyone's still got Bipolar Express. Looks like he's going quick. Who's that just in front of him? Well, we'll see now if anything comes of that. Bipolar Express doesn't go quicker. Wooly, he doesn't go quicker either. 40, oh, he does. 44, 45, 0 for him. So he does go quicker, but only good enough for 7th place. Method with 45.6, that puts him firmly in 10th. Parafusio across the line, but he hasn't set any time. Everyone pretty much done. So there we go. That's qualifying done and dusted. 46.4 for. I don't know who that was. It would help if you paid attention sometimes, Andy, wouldn't it? But there we go. There's your final rundown. Bipolar Express, Nick's pole position. That's 2 in a row for him. Ahead of Bite the Roses. Then Parafusio and Kaizen on row 2. HPR on row 3 with Fry and the Whiskers. Woolly and Rusty Nuts on row 4. Quick Kick with Method on row 5. Row 6 will be J-Rod and Venom of RWB. Brothers on the track, brothers in arms. But are they going to show each other brotherly respect when it comes down to racing? So I'm sure we have 13 runners, and we've certainly got 12. That's fine. 12 runners is 12 runners. And yeah, looking forward to this one. It's going to start dark, as we know. It is now not damp at all. I think now, listen, I said there are 2 distinct strategies, and I still stick to that. We are looking at if you can be, and really the strategy that works best is very much dependent on how the sort of pace you can put in, coupled with looking after the tyres. Fuel is not so much of a consideration here. Tyres, though, really are. You can do it on 2 sets of softs if you really feel brave enough. But ideally, you want to do it. Probably, I think 3 sets of softs is probably the best way to go. Super Squid Sim Racing, go Woolly. Yes, go Woolly indeed. Not a bad place to be starting. To be fair, he's in a difficult group. Bipolar, Bite the Roses, Parafusio, Kaizen, Kaizen and HPR. Both promoted from Division 3, but should have started here, to be fair. But they're all super, super quick. He was really unlucky last week, Willie. Really unlucky. He got, I say a little, he got a massive, massive nudge from Rusty Nuts, which put him so far back. It took him half the race just to catch back up again. So, touch wood. And Willie, and bear in mind that last week as well, Willie qualified very, very well. How different it could have been had he not been nudged off early doors. But if he can get a good start again this week, who knows where Wooly will end up when this race is done. And absolutely right, Rosie, be very cautious in turn 1, as it will be wet. Even if it's not wet, you should still be cautious in turn 1. What do we need to know about what's going on today? Pretty much all you need to know. But yeah, it's February 11th. Well, actually, no, it's not. That's last week, so I can ignore that. Told you things aren't working properly as they should be. Yeah. I told the story yesterday. Basically, I had to take everything apart at 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon. In the knowledge that I had a stream to do at 9 p.m. and then obviously the Porsche Cup, and it just everything's been a little bit off since then. When I've rewired things up, things aren't staying where they're supposed to be, and documents aren't sticking. But because I've got new gear coming, I'm not going to stress too much. I'm getting it running as the basics, and then we'll see what happens. So just waiting for the race to start. Who's calling? Why is he calling? So we're just waiting for the okays from everybody. Bipolar Express will lead us out from Bite the Roses. Parafusio and Kaizen, both behind them on row 2. Now, Kaizen's going to be one to watch because he did come up from Division 3. And you can see by the fact that he is already on row 2 that he's demonstrating the kind of pace that proves that he deserves to be where he is. Very quick, and he's a great guy to boot. He joined me yesterday in the discussion booth, shall we say. Yeah, so it was really fun, good fun to do a commentary with him, and look forward to doing many more with Kaizan over the coming weeks. Maybe you'll join me next week for Division 3 again. That would be awesome. That would be really cool. So just waiting for the race to start and we will jump in and have a little look. Let's quickly just go back to, let's get some of the messages out of the way. There we go. HyPrix, they sponsor this brilliant competition. Sim racing, graphic design, logo design, profile branding, etc. You know what they do. You know how good they are at what they do, and that's why we get involved with them. And of course, the people involved with them are simracecity.com. Check them out. Right, without further ado, let's get on with this, shall we? So, can't really see very much. We're going to have to jump out now anyway. Jump out, jump back in, jump a few cars back and see how we get on into turn 1. Let's not worry about anything but seeing if we can get safely into turn 1. We all seem to be away so far. We're watching very closely. We can't see very much. It's very difficult to see. But it is very wet. There's one car spinning. How many more are we losing here? Doesn't look to be too bad, actually. It just looks to be two cars caught up in that. Everyone else seems to be away pretty well. It went a little bit weird. So Parafusio lost out. Bite the Rose and HPR all getting a little bit caught up in that, but no one really badly damaged. I would say that is good to go. But I'm looking to see if anyone's got any damage that we can say could take responsibility for that. But no one really has any damage. So for me, that's just cars losing control, unfortunately. So Kaizan lucks out, takes the lead of this race on lap 1. And just as we were talking about yesterday, taking the opportunities when they come is very important. Bipolar Express does survive out. He is just behind Kaizan, only loses 1 place. Wooly gains 3 places up to 3rd place in the ART car. Good start from him. Quick kick up to 4th. Fry and the Whiskers, he's in 5th place. We've got Method has made his way up to 6th. Parafusio, Bite the Roses. They were big losers in that initial. Lost it a little bit. What was going on there? Was there a car in the middle of the road yet to go round? No, I don't think it was red. No one hit anyone. It was some cars spun, but it wasn't a red car, a red flag scenario for me. It wasn't one person ploughing into several other cars. It was a few cars losing control, and it's one of those things, a racing incident as far as I'm concerned. So HPR, he's got a 2-second penalty. Not sure what that's for. That's clearly for cutting some line somewhere because there's no damage there. Parafusio in 8th place. Rusty Nuts is back in 9th, Australian driver. Then it's Venom and J-Rod. They are back in 10th and 11th. And it's Bite the Roses up behind them, trying to find a way through. Now, what does this change strategy? Particularly for those guys that didn't have a great turn 1 and found themselves just sliding about and getting edged out and not necessarily having the great start to this race. Does it put them in a position where they now have to rethink their strategy plans? Because, you know, if you qualify in first or second or third, and you've got a kind of a game plan kind of organised, then maybe you would change that because you're or you would have started with a different strategy if you were somewhere else. That's certainly a possibility. But we're looking at the leader. There is Kaizan. He leads by 0.8 of a second. I can tell you now, while the track is, it's almost intermediate tyre territory. Everybody bar one driver has gone for the same tyres. Whether they're going for the same strategy, I can't tell you. But we're just coming up to the end of lap number 2. And it's Kaizan, nearly 1 second clear of the super quick shooting star American from HyPrix, Bipolar Express, the fastest man on 4 wheels, especially here in Division 2. I'll say that with tongue in cheek, because I'm fast race. But let's face it, Bipolar Express is the qualifying master. 2 seconds back to Willie. Lucked out with a start, moves all the way up the order to third. And it just goes to show how racing is all about swings and roundabouts. Last week, Willie qualified up there in the top 3, got punted right at the start, and cost him the entire race. This time didn't qualify quite so well, but got a little bit of luck through the first corner, and managed to avoid sliding and going off the track, and finds himself up into the top 3. 2.2 seconds to get back to Quick Kick, who is just a second ahead of Final Whiskers. 1.5 clear of Methods, who himself is 2.8 clear of HPR. And usually, I'm not so used to speaking to this guy in the top 3, along with Roses and Bipolar. And it'd be interesting to have a chat with someone else. Parafusio, there he is in 8th place. Don't count this guy out just yet. Very good pace as Portuguese driver. Very good pace. Certainly worth keeping an eye on. 1.5 seconds back to Rusty Nuts. Literally almost disappearing off the track, where I thought for a minute we would actually be losing him to the depths of the darkness. Bite the Roses has made his way up to 10th. He's still got some work to do. He's 9.9 clear now. Venom and J-Rod, the 2 RWB drivers in themselves, got 10 seconds between them. But he is 3.7 seconds down the road from Rusty Nuts. So that's some work still for Roses to do. But again, you can't count this driver out. Whether he starts from first or from last, he's got some phenomenal pace as Roses. And don't count him out just yet. Do not count him out. He will still be there or thereabouts come the end of this race. And that's purely because he's got a winning mentality. Kaizan, not able to pull away from Bipolar, and I know from our conversation yesterday, both on and off air, that he was really keen on the racing with Bipolar Express today, and the other guys, not just Bipolar, but really keen to kind of pit himself against these guys, because if you want to get better, you've got to race better people, and it's the simple fact of motor racing. You will only get better if the people around you are better. If you are consistently racing with people slower than you, and you're not learning anything, then it's not going to improve your racecraft so much. So you really need these top quality drivers racing with you to really help you improve your own racecraft, your own ability. And that's what Kaizan's doing, moved up to Division 2. But he leads at the moment from Bipolar Express. But these two, not really putting away though. They've got a little bit of a gap over really, but nothing significant, nothing that can't be managed. Fastest lap of the race so far goes to, of course, who else other than Bipolar Express and Older Drink. That is dry. Caffeine this evening instead of water. Need the caffeine. So Bipolar Express running in second. Art Woolley. Good start from him. He is now 4. So the top 3 just already starting to pull away from the rest of the pack. It's a nice good distance back now to Quick Kick in 4th. But we know very well how over the course, we know we're only 7 minutes into this race. There's still plenty of racing to be done. And we know how quickly things can change. And it will be the pit strategies, to a certain extent, that will help us see what those changes will be. There's going to be cars out there that are going to be opting to go for the simple 1-stopper. There may be cars going out there going for a 2-stopper. There's going to be people using different tyre compounds. It's all going to add up to shape out to be quite an exciting thing to watch and develop. And it's almost like watching evolution. You watch a race evolve from its early beginnings, which can be a bit chaotic and a bit crazy, and nothing's really well formed, and everyone's kind of trying to jostle for their place. And then over the course of the race, things kind of even themselves out, and and the faster guys get to the front, the kind of survival of the fittest thing. The faster guys get to the front, the slower guys move to the back, and everyone kind of lines up where they need to be, and then the whole strategy kind of lines itself out. And then by the end of the race, you've got the finished article, and you see the final product of the evolution. Yeah, I love it. I love watching how races develop over the course of time. Particularly like the sort of long endurance races, like 2 and 3 hour races, because they really show you how things can develop and how things can change, and how, you know, little moments within each of those races can really change something. But at the moment, Kaizan leads from Bipolar Express, Wooly in 3rd place, 2.5 seconds back. Then Quick Kick just under 6 seconds outside that top 3. Fry and the Whiskas now starting to find his rhythm. He's starting to evolve into this track and getting a bit closer to Quick Kick. HPR is just 1.2 seconds behind. Another quick driver that will certainly be closing up when given the opportunity. They are going to have to look after their tyres to an extent. Very abrasive track this that doesn't like tyres at all. It likes to eat rubber. So just watch out for, you've got to kind of watch out for how quickly you burn through them. HBR running in 6th place with Method from the United States. He's 1.5 seconds back. Then we are with Parafusio. Parafusio was one of a couple of drivers that didn't have the greatest starts and had a little wobble through turn 1, which cost them a few places. But there is Parafusio, currently running in 3.2 seconds behind Method. The Portuguese driver, 8 tenths up from Rusty Nuts, the Australian. Of course, his compatriot Kaizan got to the lead still. 1.8 seconds back to Bright Roses. He's closed that gap. It was 10 seconds back to Venom and 3 seconds to Rusty Nuts. It's now 18 seconds from Venom and 1.7 seconds up to Rusty Nuts. Venom running in 11th place, and the J-Rod 7.4 seconds back. He's closed up a little bit in 12th place, looking to find, and he's starting to find some pace actually. A 45.4 is good pace. It's not far off the pace. Well, the pace out front's a little bit bigger, but it's not far off their pace, to be fair. It's not far off the pace of Quick Kick, who's in 4th place. So Kaizan just starting to pull away now from Bipolar Express. It'd be interesting to see whether, and I'm privy to the tyre and the fuel information that you necessarily aren't, but I can tell you it's very difficult to tell at this stage if they're planning 1 or 2 stops. I would hazard a guess with the pace that 2 stopper is probably going to be the thing of choice, but that's not to say that that's definitely the case at all. Bipolar Express, he will know what pace he's capable of on a regular basis. He's not going to let Kaizan pull too far away if he can help it. Of course he's not. By the same token, he's got his own strategy to think about. He's going to think about how he needs to push the car to be where he needs to be and be in a position to make the moves on Kaizan when the time is right, but without compromising his strategy or compromising his tyre or fuel or that kind of thing all the way through the race. Wooly's still running in 3rd. He's doing a very, very good job staying up there and showing some good pace. 44.8 the fastest lap for him, as By the Roses puts in the fastest lap of the race with a 1:44.3. Quick Kick running in 4th place, just can't keep up with that insane pace up front at the moment. 7.9 seconds is the gap to Wooly. And we see Fry the Whiskas and HBR now closing down on Quick Kick. So this is becoming a 3-way battle for 4th place. You can see the lights returning to the world as they come through dawn. Track is now nice and lovely and yummy and dry, and we're essentially looking that we are about 6 minutes nearly to the pit window. So we're looking about lap 12 lap 13 is when we'll see the first few cars making their foray into the pits. And I imagine there's going to be quite a few. Let me tell you that. So, J-Rod running at the back of the pack. He had closed up 7 seconds to Venom. That's now opened back out to 10.4 seconds. The two RWB drivers giving it their all there at the back of the pack. But don't be fooled by the fact that they're still super quick. They're quicker than me and quicker than most of the people that race like. 18, 19 seconds now to Bite the Roses. He's a little bit out of sync pace-wise to the rest of the cars, but is starting now to rein in Rusty Nuts, and plenty of time for him to take that car from his current position in 10th. Now bear in mind, let's put this into perspective. He's 19 seconds ahead of Venom and J-Rod. He's only 19 seconds behind Kaizan, the leader of this race. That is all that separates first and 10th place in this race at the moment. There is Quick Kick. Bite Roses makes the move on Quick Kick up into 9th place. We knew it was coming. 1.3 seconds to Rusty Nuts. Quick Kick must have had a little problem because he dropped down through the order and came upon Bite the Roses very quickly. It's almost as though he was travelling backwards and not Bite the Roses travelling forwards there. But he moves up to 9th place. 1.4 seconds now to the back of Rusty Nuts, who has only got 7 tenths to the back of Parafusio. And let's have a look on board from the from Rusty Nuts, because you've got here a lovely little trainer. You've got Parafusio, you've got Method, and then you look forward, you've got Method there, and then ahead of Method you've got HBR, just 1.7 seconds. Ahead of HBR you can see Fry and the Whiskers. So essentially from 4th back to Rusty Nuts in 8th, or in fact you even Bite the Roses in 9th place, and you can even count to an extent Quick Kick in that, because if you watch as we come around the corner, and we'll see very soon that you Quick Kick will see the majority of these. There's a yellow flag somewhere. Who's that? That is Fry and the Whiskers. He's spun out. Can't park that there, son. He drops down to 10th place, and Quick Kick dives through. So more work to do now for Fry and the Whiskers just to get back in contention with this group. That promotes Bite the Roses and Rusty Nuts and Parafusio and Method, and also HPR moves up. He is now running in 4th place. But the most interesting thing is the gap now to the front 3 is 11 seconds. So, perspective, 20 seconds separates Bite the Roses and Kaizan in the lead. 11 seconds, over half of that separates the back of the top 3 to HBR in 4th place. So this just demonstrates the kind of crazy pace out front. And we look at Kaizan there, 2.7 seconds is his lead over by Polar Express, who was your pole sitter. Bite the Roses, his teammate, the 2 HyPrix drivers, of course. Bite the Roses is the fastest man out at the moment. 1:44.3 for him. And I think what was the fastest lap in Division 1? I'm sure it's like a 43.1, something like that. So we're not far off that Division 1 pace already here in Division 2. Back to Wooly, 3.5 seconds is the distance. I think he'd be quite happy with that at this time. He didn't qualify quite so high up, but it's definitely that kind of the gods of racing are very big on karma, and over the course of a season, I think things balance themselves out. And that's the first to blink and go into the pits, and that's HPR going in a little bit early for my liking, I think. He won't put on in the field, he'll just whack some tyres and go straight back out. But that's a little earlier than I expected to see anyone coming in. I was thinking sort of lap 12 would be the first time we would see pitters, but his strategy is his strategy. Maybe he's looking at going for an undercut. and he feels that that might work for him. Currently 37 seconds back from the leader. It's only about a 17, 18 second loss just to put tyres on. So he's got some work to do here. But he will. I mean, if we look 8 seconds to Friday, that's just 2 to Quick, 4 to Method, negligible amount to Bite the Roses. He will move way, way back up that order. So where are the big battles at the moment? There's certainly none out front. Parafusio's got Rusty Nuts just behind him. Bite the Roses is there, 7 tenths. Method is there, 8 tenths. This is the kind of little battle we're looking at the minute. So we're looking at Method, watching the back of Bite the Roses, who is now up to 6th place, remember. And at one stage, he was plumb last. I'll tell you the stage that was. Straight after turn 1, lap 1, he was plumb last. We are now 10 laps later, and he is comfortably chasing down the top 5. And once he gets to the top 5, then it's about chasing the top 4. Method not able to keep on the back of these of this chasing pack. There is Bite the Roses, and he can clearly see the back of Rusty Nuts, who goes in. He goes in as well. So Rusty Nuts staying out. So I said lap 12, lap 11 seems to be when these guys wanted to go in. I think it's a lap too early. I really do. We'll see though. We'll see. It's all about strategy. We are at the 20-minute mark now, so maybe stretch out that middle stint a little bit, so your tyres have a little bit left to give at the end of the race. Because that's the thing that's most important, is that you've got something left when it gets to the end. Is anyone staying out for a one stopper here? Well, we're watching Kaizan. He's 2.3 seconds clear. I certainly think he could stretch this out and do this as a one stopper, as I think can Bipolar Express. So potentially these two are going to hang this out for another 5, maybe 6 laps and go to somewhere around lap 30. Say lap 30 then. That'd be ridiculous. Lap 17, 18, and 19. I'm losing my voice. 4.8 seconds back to Wooly. It looks to me that he might also be going for a one-stop strategy. So we can see how these strategies are playing out. Again, Parafusio also looks to be doing the same thing, as does Method. So the two strategies, we can see now how well they play out in terms of pace. Fry and Whiskas, he is... trying to work out who's been in. I don't think he has. He can't have been. No, he hasn't been into the pits. It threw me because I didn't get to see the but no, it's fine. Friday Whiskas will stay out. He's going to one-stop this race as well. He's on a different strategy also. So there's HBR. He's already been in. Method in. Parafusio in. So I thought actually they might stay out. Quick Kid has gone in. He had to. Method's gone in. He didn't really need to, but he's chosen to anyway. Interesting choice. So HBR, having stopped relatively early, he is back up into that top 5. Bite the Roses is one place further down behind Parafusio. But bearing in mind that there are still 4 cars, 4 cars in front of him that do need to pit. That's going to kind of balance out a little bit. Yes, he'll need to pit again because of the strategy he's opted for, but he's showing some phenomenal pace, but not quite as phenomenal as the 1:43.9 just shown by HBR on his last lap. So definite push from him. Very good lap actually. Quick Kick after his stop, he is 4.5 seconds back from J-Rod. J-Rod for me is also one stop in this race on a differing strategy. 1.5 seconds back from Rusty Nuts, that's where he comes out in 10th place. He's 2.1 back from Method, who is running long in his blue skin. I can tell you that. We won't see him in the pits for a very long time. He will come in again, but who knows when. And I'm a poet, and I don't even know it. Venom up to 8th place, 5.6 seconds clear of Method, and 3.4 seconds behind the current championship leader, Bite the Roses. I don't recommend that because they're very sharp and they're cutting off. So he's about to make the move on Parafusio. Can Parafusio do anything to stop him? Well, look at him just breezing down. He's going to have the inside line under braking. Who wins out here? Was there a little coming together there? It looked like there might have been. Bite the Roses backs out and lives to fight another day, Parafusio. But for how long does he live to fight another day? Because Bite the Roses is looking incredibly racy there behind him. It's a difficult track to overtake. Turn 1 is probably your best bet for a straight up, chuck one up the inside after having some slipstream, hang it right out there, balls out overtake. Everywhere else is a little bit more reliant on the other driver making a mistake or leaving a gap for you. That said, these drivers are very talented, and if an opportunity presents itself, like one does there under braking, Bite the Roses makes that little dive, and I'll tell you what, that is a great overtake. You get that a little bit wrong, and it's sayonara. Being that we're in Japan, and that's exactly how they would say it, and everyone would not accuse me of some casual racism, which I wasn't, of course. It's a terrible, terrible attempt at an accent. So Parafusio dropping back to 7th place in the Portuguese. Bite the Roses up to 6th place yet again. He's been in the pits. Now ahead of him is 4 drivers that haven't yet seen the inside of a pit lane. And HPR, who has 8.2 seconds is the gap. The last time we saw these two battling it out was for a place in the top 3. Do we get to see some shenanigans again? I certainly really hope so. So, lap 15, 25 minutes into this 1 hour race here around Autopolis in Japan. And Kaizan leads the way 22, not 26 nothing, but 26 hundredths of a second, 26 tenths of a second. There we go. That's how you play. 2.5 seconds he is clear of Bipolar Express, the pole sitter. They're both, I think, trying to hang out for a one-stop strategy, but let me tell you, they are skating. Any more laps they do after this, and they are dancing with the devil in the pale moonlight with those tyres, and it's just going to be. It's almost as though the cars are going to be held together by a spit of hope as they cross the line, and both decide that they don't care what those tyres look like. That their only aim is to keep on driving, just like Chris Ware did at Christmas. They're going to keep on going, no matter what the cost. Wooly does come in finally, probably wise looking at his front left tyre. If he's one stop in this race, he's going to have a little bit more concern for his tyres in the second half of this race. But he's running in the top 3, and that'll be good. Very decent points for Wooly. Where does he come out? Bite the Roses into that top 5. He comes out, I was going to say behind him, but he does, but he also behind Parafusio. So Bite the Roses around Parafusio, and now up into the top 5. Said you weren't going to keep him back for long. He is already putting in another purple sector. Purple sectors all around for Bite the Roses. Do you want a portion of purple sectors? Absolutely, yes I do. I want 3 of them, followed by a fastest lap to wash it down with. And we'll see if that comes about. 4.7 seconds to his next target, who is Fry and the Whiskers, that very famous folk band from Norfolk or Barcelona, based on the badge. And they are 4.3 clear, not yet stopped. Bipolar Express Kaizan are holding it out there, holding out for a hero, is the way I would look at it. 25 seconds back to HPR. Now, as neither of these will be putting fuel in, I would imagine not anyway. But Bipolar in, Kaizan stays out. This boy has got big brass danglies, I've got to tell you. Wow, just we'll see. So Bipolar Express comes in, not prepared to risk the car any longer. Back out onto track, just a little dribble of fuel going into the car before he can come out. Where does he come out? HPR. Does he take second place? Yes, he does. Frying the whiskers. Has he got the momentum going into turn one? It looks like he has. Absolutely. But Bipolar Express pulls the switcheroo, says, you are not keeping my podium place. Get the hell back, son. And takes back third place. So Bipolar Express, that was a quality pit stop. 25 seconds was his lead over HPR. He has managed to put on brand new tyres, put on a little smidgen of fuel, and only be 1.6 seconds behind HPR, who will have to stop again. So the one-stop crew are doing the do, and that is what they also do. Kaizan, he's gone one more lap, and you know, obviously the longer you can stay out on the first stint, no matter how bad the tyres are, the better it is for you. And he's just proving the point there because he's about to come round and complete lap 17 of what will probably be 33, 34 laps. And into the pits comes Kaizan. So Kaizan in the pits, HBR, he will come round and take the lead of this race, which, considering where he was at the end of lap 1, you'd be really surprised to know he's about to take the lead of this race. Or is he? Is he? No, he's not going to take the lead of this race, because Kaizan has done the business and got back out in the lead. So Kaizan, and let me call this right now, this is not going to be plain sailing for Kaizan, because he hasn't put any fuel in. Can he make it to the end of the race with fuel he's got? Yes. Is he going to be really looking after that fuel for a significant portion of this second half of the race? Again, yes. Do the people behind him have a bit more impetus? Abso-freaking-lutely. We'll see. We will see. Kaizan's going to be very, very careful here, because I think he's gambled a little bit with the fuel, and I think he may have just gambled a bit too much. But I hope he hasn't. I hope this works out for him. But even if it doesn't work out, it will make for a very, very exciting last few laps here at Autopolis. So, there is HPR. He's, what happened there? We have had a disconnection. Kaizan was winning this race and dominating this race, actually 4 seconds clear. There was going to be an exciting finish, and he's gone. Disconnected. There is no more Kaizan. Kaizan has disappeared. Well, so that completely changes things. And what did I say about the smallest things can make the biggest difference? And here it is. HPR is leading this race. How long is he leading this race for? Because here comes Bipolar Express charging down up to turn 1. Is he going to go for the old switcheroo? He does. The old classic switcheroo. Bipolar Express pulls that out of his pocket, slams it down on the table, stands up, pushes the table over and says, I'm done. Drops the mic, and out he walks into the lead of this race. Bipolar Express now buoyed by seeing Kaizan pop, just disappear off the server. And if I was Kaizan, I would be kicking something across the room right now. Absolutely devastated at being disconnected when he did. So, Bipolar Express takes the lead of this race, 7/10 of a second clear from HPR. And this puts Bipolar in such a good position, because he doesn't have to pit again. HPR will be pitting sometime in the next 7 or 8 minutes. So somewhere around 3 to 4 laps, we're going to see HPR dive into the pits, and a big gap form behind Bipolar Express. Now that's his biggest challenge on the racetrack. Kaizan is gone. Let's take a look at Parafusio, the LTM driver. His teammate not back with this week, and I think I read somewhere that he wasn't going to race for the rest of the season. I could be wrong, and I can stand corrected on that, but I'm pretty sure that I read something along those lines. He is running in third. He's 4.8 seconds back from HPR. He himself, I think, will... I think he's going to try and run to the end of this race, but in all brutal honesty, I think he's probably going to have to pit at some stage before the end. There is Wooly. He is going just the one stop, so I wouldn't be too concerned with that 3.7 second gap for Parafusio. As Friday Whiskers goes in, now that's actually his first stop of the race. How is this going to work out for him? He's gone for a completely different strategy to everybody else. And I can tell you now, he was on the medium tyres for that entire first stint. So he comes back out, he's putting on a little bit of juicy juice just to make sure he's got plenty to drink to the end of the race. And he will come out where? Where's Method? There comes Method. Is he going to race through? Well, we can see that Friday Whiskers does come out ahead. 2.666 seconds. And that's the number of the beast. That has got him out ahead, and if whoever opened my back door doesn't close it, they're going to get murdered and left in my garden because it's freezing. Method running in 10th place, 2.8 seconds beyond Friday Whiskers. Couldn't get past him before he went in. Then J-Rod in 11th place. We've lost, unfortunately, we've lost Kaizan from this race. Devastating circumstances. In the fact that he disconnected from this race, from the lead of this race. So Bipolar Express leads HPR by 4 seconds now, and he can dive on up the road. We didn't take a look at Bite the Roses, which we really should do, because he's started to try and make that charge through. He has got to pits again. So, look, we've seen Bipolar Express do this one stop. I imagine that Bite the Roses intended on one stop in this as well, but the little slide into turn 1 that caused him problems, dropped him to the back. That is going to be the thing that changed his thinking and required him just to put more load through those tyres than he really wanted to do. But he's up to 5th place. He's got Wooly in front of him. Now, Wooly will not be stopping again. Parafusio, I think, may well be. HPR definitely will be. And he definitely will be very soon. What we're on, lap 21. I imagine we'll see HPR in. If he's not in at the end of lap 21, he will most certainly be in at the end of lap 22. And Bite the Roses only being 20 seconds back, I imagine we'll see him just shoot up that order a little bit and should get ahead of HPR. But we'll see what happens when we get there. Art Woolley, he made his way to the top 3, was nice and comfortably there. He's going to see himself move up the order a little bit when HPR and Parafusio both go in for their second and final pit stop of this evening's shenanigans. So, Bipolar Express, he's just getting quicker and quicker and quicker. It's almost like, you know, when you like push something down a hill, right? It starts off like slowly, and it just gets faster and faster and faster till it gets to the bottom. Bipolar Express drives like that, but there's no bottom. He just keeps getting quicker and quicker and quicker and quicker and quicker until someone says you can stop now. He's like, why not? He had the fastest lap of the race with a 1:43.7. He wasn't happy with that, so now he's got a 1:43.5. That is just 0.3 slower than the fastest lap in Division 1. This boy can drive cars fast. There is no two ways about it. HyPrix driver, of course, but Bipolar Express is showing phenomenal pace out in front today. 8.3 seconds now he leads from HPR. And I said lap 22 is going to be when he pits. It will be. Parafusio might even make that overtake before HPR goes in, because he's getting a lot closer. The gap is just 1 8.8 seconds and closing. There's Wooly, 7.7 back. He'll move up back into that top 3 once HPR dives into the pits in about 4 or 5 corners. Excuse me. Is there anything you're drinking Pepsi for the cafes? It's rather gassy. And you guys were very lucky during my earlier broadcast. My dog was very ill, all over the front room and the sofa and the hallway and the stairs and upstairs and my bedroom door. So I had to spend 20 minutes while during the 2-hour race cleaning it up and really being sick. So you're glad you haven't suffered anything to be much like that one. She was very quiet behind me. She seems much happier now. She's released herself in such a way. I'm not sure I needed to share that, but I am anyway. 11.9 seconds is the lead. And they both went HPR and Parafucio. So it was kind of, Parafucio's view was he didn't have to come in when he did, but it was very much, he goes in, I go in, and then it's just a straight shootout between the pair of us to the end of this race. So Wooly up into second place. Both him and Bipolar benefiting from the disconnection of Kaizan. That sounds like a kind of elaborate spy book, doesn't it? One like the Tinker Tailor sold just by the disappearance of Kaizan, or the disconnection of the Kaizan. And so HPR is in third place. That's where he comes out. 14 seconds is the target up ahead. 1.2 behind him is Parafucio. Bite the Roses has gone into the pits for his second and final pit stop. He has got 12 seconds to make up on the Rusty Nuts, who's going to pit again very shortly. Fry the Whiskers, he's going to run to the end of this race. So it's a straight shootout between him and Bite the Roses. Quick Kick will be coming in shortly as well. I think we'll see Fry the Whiskers take that position before he needs to. Or before he gets to do it for free anyway. There he does. He does move up into 5th place, the Spanish folk singer. And Quick Kick, he'll be putting at the end of this lap, then running to the end of the race on the softies. Rusty Nuts, he's going to pull into the pits at the end of this lap. If not the end, well, look, if he doesn't pull in the end of this lap, it'll certainly be at the end of the next one. And that will give Bite the Roses another position. So he'll definitely get ahead of Rusty Nuts, certainly get ahead of Quick Kick with those 2 pit stops. Then it is all about, then it's a straight shootout, essentially, between, firstly Fry and the Whiskers, then see if he can catch Parafucio, then HPR. So those are going to be his targets if he wants to finish in the top 3. Of course, we've got the drop round to come, and that will certainly mix things up in the table. And the person we've got to feel the most for is Kaizan, because he had to lose half of his points coming up from Division 3 into Division 2. And with the disconnection, I think that places him out of the points, because it will place him in 12th place, and with a DNF. I'm not sure how that works. Does he get points for a DNF? Because I see there are times when people have left early and they've got points. I'm not sure how it works. But if he does, it's certainly not going to be enough to keep him in that mix up there. We don't know as well what he's going to lose drop points wise. But how does it work with drop points? So with guys like HPR and Kaizan and anyone else that's moved up a division, obviously we know that when they move up, they take only half the points with them. So with the drop round, do they only drop half the points, or do they drop all the points? Because if they've already lost half the points, surely they've only got half the points to lose. If someone could elaborate how that will work, great. We don't have to. It's not really that important, to be fair. I think the fact that someone's moved up to another division is going to be very difficult for them to take the title in that division, because it is what it is. So anyway, Bipolar Express leads now. He's 20 seconds clear. If he wants to, he can pit and put on some fresh tyres. Doesn't need to, but if he wants to, he can. He's got nearly 21 seconds as a cushion. And in the words of the infamous song, he's got 21 seconds to go. He's got 21 seconds to go. And if he doesn't go slow and Woody doesn't go fast, there's still 21 seconds to go. Didn't think that through before I started, did I? Really didn't think that through. And I thoroughly apologise for subjecting you to that. Wooly running in second certainly makes up for what happened last week. And it must have been the encouraging words from Super Squid Sim Racing. Super Squid is basically me, but for ART, and much more talented, much more charming, less potty mouthed, and a little bit more professional probably. But he's not as bald or as bold as I am. Who knows? But yeah, the encouraging word from Super Squid, which just consisted of two great phrases: "Go" and "Woolly," and that's what Woolly did. He went, and he's now second. So good performance from him. No Black Flag Racing start, no Arminis. Couldn't make it this evening. So this will be. So this 0 points for today is actually his drop rounds. He actually won't lose any points, which might work out quite well for him. HPR is running in third, but Parafusio is not allowing him to pull away. And looking at the field situation, and we are 3/4 way through this race, there are just 15 minutes remaining here in this fifth round. We are with the HyPrix Porsche Cup with GT champions. This is round 5. This is Division 2 at Autopolis. In the Porsche 911 RSR, which is both a brilliant and an absolute nightmare in equal measures. So, you know, and we talked, myself and Kaiser talked, you know, I say we talked, he talked a lot last night, just because he's got loads to say, but about the sort of handling in our own cars and how best to drive them. And to be fair, he was demonstrating exactly what he was talking about yesterday, until the one thing he didn't have control over, he had plenty of control over the car, but absolutely no control over his internet connection, and it kicked him off and said bye-bye, and so no more Kaizen, which benefits Bipolar and Woolly, and HyPrix benefits everyone because he was in the lead of this race. But Parafusio not able to close down HPR. That gap is steadily staying at 1.7 seconds. 7.3 back from Parafusio is Fry and the Whiskers, the Spanish folk band. And they are comfortably at the moment hanging on in there with 12.5 second gap back to what I imagine is a very frustrated Roses. And Wooly pits again, and I'm not entirely sure why he's done that. Yeah, I mean, he probably needed to, but I think he could have hung out. I think what he should have done was hung out a little bit longer, maybe, and see how things developed. So he comes out in 5th place. The one thing Wooly can do now, though, is he can push, and he can push hard. Now that's massive change in complexion, because who is that facing the wrong way? That's Method. Can't part of this. Method does get back up and running again. He's running in 11th place. He was facing in the wrong direction. Here comes Bipolar Express. Oh, and a little clip there. Does that, how much damage is that? No, that didn't actually do too much damage to Bipolar. It did look to me like he was about to go spinning off into the distance. Now, he has got a massive lead over HBR. The sensible decision here, despite the fact he's got enough tyre to take him to the end of this race, the sensible decision here has got to be to put fresh runs on. It's not going to cost you anything to do it. For me, that's what I think you need to do here. I think when you've got that kind of gap, you've got an entire you've got a free pit window, and you can put yourself on tyres that will allow you just to relax and not worry so much. And I think it might be worth doing. It'll be interesting, actually. We'll get to do. I have no doubt in my mind now at this stage, unless of course we have a similar situation to Kaizen with the disconnection, that we will be speaking to Bipolar at the end of this race yet again. And that's a good thing to just but it'd be interesting to find out why he didn't take, because the gap is starting to come down now. And for me, I think, you've got a 29-second lead, 17 seconds in the pit. Use it. Use it to your advantage and put on some fresh rubber, and just keep yourself. It gives you a cushion. So if anything does go wrong, you can push. Right, I'll put my control down so yeah, please, there's not that coming, right? And I think Chris and I should do a zoogity dance, like a jiggy kind of rain dance, and pray that within that update there are 3 cars that nobody cares about, but they give keyboard controls and instant replays back on the lobby system. I would cry tears of happiness, and then probably cuddle a hedgehog or something. Probably not a hedgehog because this might be. So that gap's starting to come down for Bipolar. He has taken my advice. He is going in. He is going to put on some soft compound tyres, and I think that was probably the last opportunity. So here comes HBR. Now, how close is he? He comes around that last bend. Where's Bipolar? Is Bipolar coming back out? Here comes HBR now. Bipolar's not moving. Why is Bipolar not moving? He is moving. Panic over. He is back out in the lead of this race. The gap is, once we get past turn 1, we'll see what the true number is. So 7 seconds clear. Phew. Don't do that to me, man. Don't do that to me. I genuinely thought something had gone horribly wrong in the pits for you, and we were going to see you and Bite the Roses battle it out somewhere like 6th or something. So yes, back out of the lead is Bipolar Express. He did it, but he kept me waiting for that decision. HPR still running in second, 7.2 seconds back from Bipolar, 2.1 up the road from Beneficio from Portugal. Interesting to look at when you just look down from sort of 1st to 8th, and it's a kind of plethora of flags of the world, just showing how this little thing we do kind of brings us together. I mean, you find that when you live somewhere, I'm relatively lucky that the area I live in is incredibly multicultural, incredibly so. But a lot of people aren't that lucky, and they can find themselves in areas that are very kind of insular, and you don't get to meet lots of different people of lots of different nationalities. But that's the one thing that this game gives us, is that, I mean, I've travelled quite a bit, and I've seen some of the world, lucky enough to meet people from lots of different countries. But genuinely, I think in the time I've been sim racing, I've met more people, I've made friends with more people of other cultures and other nationalities and that kind of thing than ever before. And I think it's a wonderful, wonderful thing. It'd be nice to have more women doing it, though, because it does get a bit saucy after a while. So Bipolar is still opening up that lead, 8.1 seconds now, from HBR running in second place in the beautiful, I love the kind of anime theme on the side of this car. They do kind of like that anime stuff. Not anime itself, but like the kind of images that they put on cars. It's really cool. 1.4 seconds. Excuse me, there's Paraficio. He's going to hunt down that second place for everything he's got. 9.4 back to Fryer and the Whiskas. Woolley came back out in 5th. Not going to get that podium. He so desperately deserves, really. Just pushed a little bit too hard in his second stint. I did trust his tyres to take him to the end of this race. I have indeed seen the time, Cameron, but this is what happens when you are internationally known and born to rock the microphone. You end up doing stuff for American Championships as well, and for what is sleepy time for us here in the UK, it is a wakey dinner time for our friends across the pond, which is why you find me up at this time of night commentating for all sorts. This is the sort of thing you can get involved in when you finally unlock everything and learn to drive these cars. So there is our friend Woody from ART running in 5th place. There is no black flag driver in Division 2 today. Arminus is sitting this one out. This will be his drop points round. By the Rose is still in 6th place, 3.8 seconds back from Woody. Is he able to catch him? Well, he's certainly got the pace to do so. He's steadily in the mid to low 44s. Wooly in the, well, he's, to be fair, similar times actually, mid 44s, but without the same level of consistency that Roses has been showing. We've got 6 minutes left, so essentially, if he can take out, I think he needs to do 1 second a lap and give himself a couple of laps to. I think there's probably a little bit too much to ask, because we're lap 31. There's going to be realistically 2 to 3 laps left. He would need to absolutely chunk it out. So I think it's about that time. Wait a minute, I could need a sentimental man or woman to bump me up. Method is exactly 1 minute behind Quick Kick, which is a little bit too far to reach if you want to quickly kick someone. 10 seconds between Quick Kick and RWB Venom, Red, White and Blue Venom. He is 8 tenths behind Rusty Nuts. That's still on. That's a battle that could still be raging. And looking at tyres and fuel, they're all very similar. Venom, Rusty Nuts and J-Rod, they can still, and the difference between the points for 10th and the points for 8th is significantly enough, the points for 7th is significantly enough to justify this battle that's between 9th and 7th, 10th and 7th. You might, but I don't. Our American friends here are bringing us a wonderful race series full of wonderment and joy for all. Bipolar Express demonstrates why he should be in the lead of this race and the lead of this championship. That's a 1:43.3 from him. Gonna be brutally honest. Kaizan gets promoted up into the division, and I thought, for all intents and purposes, he was going to absolutely dominate this race. Just goes to prove that you don't have a stable internet connection. If you don't have a stable internet connection, you can get booted, it can go wrong, and you can lose all that momentum that put you way up on the leaderboard. The only saving grace, of course, for Kaizan is that if it is a 0 round because of the DNF, which I don't think it is, but because this is a drop round time, those points will drop, and I wonder who put those eyes on that bridge. 12.8 seconds is the lead for Bipolar Express. It would take a miracle for him not to finish this race in the lead. Very dominant. Pole since the last time out, and pole to win this time out. HPR, when the crowd say bold, Selector, 13.2 seconds back. He is just under a second now, the gap between him and Parafusio. Parafusio just starting in the last couple of laps here to ramp it up. And it's essentially 2 more laps for Bipolar, for HPR, for Parafusio. That's what Parafusio's going to need, 2 laps to catch HPR, overtake HPR, wave behind to HPR, and take the second step of the podium. If he's going to do that. Friday Whiskers, outside the top 10 now. I don't think there's enough time for any difference there. Wooly thinks he's going to have to resign to 5th. Looking at what he's used in terms of tyres, he probably could have stayed on the ones he had. But in terms of fuel, I think stopping was probably the wise idea now. Although for me, I would have stopped a couple of laps later than he did, just to see what pans out. You never know. By the Roses, 3.9 seconds back from Wooly. Has he got the pace to catch him? Probably, if there were another 15 minutes to get the job done. Not a great day in the office for Roses, the current championship leader. But it's good to see the HyPrix drivers still finishing in the races and bringing home the points. And of course, Bipolar Express winning the race today. Rusty Nuts 75. That's how many Rusty Nuts he has. Exactly 75. They're in a jar in his garage, and he counted them, which is why he's allowed to use that name. He is 18.4 seconds back from 6th place. Leads this three-way-ish battle between himself, J-Rod, and Venom for 7th place. Quick Kick is 11.1 seconds back. And then back to Method on lap 33, who crossed the line and one more go. So, is it the last lap for Bipolar Express? The answer to that question is a resounding yes. This is the last lap for Bipolar Express because we only have 30 seconds left of this race, and he needs more than that to get to the end of this lap. Just looking at the three crossing the line, they're going to make it. Who's that? That is Rusty Nuts, J-Rod, and Venom gets batted out for one more lap. Quick Kick, I think, might just make it. Method will not. So here we go, Bipolar Express to round the last couple of corners. He is going to win this and win it convincingly. So in the GT Champions HyPrix Porsche Cup, round number 5, Division 2 at Autopolis, another HyPrix driver wins. We had HyPrix 1-2 at Daytona last time out. We've got a HyPrix 1-6 at this time. Who is the yellow flag? Who has crashed? Let's just watch Bipolar across the line, then we'll find out later, because that's less of an issue than this guy. Bipolar Express, big W for him, wins convincingly, very convincing. HPR, is he going to lose this to Parafusio right at the last? He's always involved in last ditch action. Parafusio doesn't quite get through. Is HPR going to cross the line, or will it be Parafusio? They are literally neck and neck, heading down towards the line. HPR, has he done just enough? Parafusio's going to try and go side by side, but HPR just hangs on for 2nd place. Parafusio coming home in 3rd. Fry and the Whiskers home in 4th place, with Wooly coming home in 5th place. Good performances all round. And yet again, HPR involved in some last lap shenanigans. Barton Rose is home in 6th place. That just bring the pain, bring the fun, bring the excitement, and turn me into a giggly little schoolgirl. Rusty Nuts leads that little gaggle home in 7th, 8th for J-Rod, 9th for Venom. Quick Kick comes home in 10th place. 11th place is Method, and Ding Dang Do. How about that for an end of a race? That was a little bit brilliant. So we're going to have Bipolar Express, HBR and Parafusio in the interview room for some chatty chats. But there is your well-deserved winner. That is Bipolar Express. And whether it's by luck or by skill, sometimes a combination of both is all you need to make the massive difference. And how about that is the race finishes, and what happens? We get damp wetness. And it just, there we go, the wintry wipers are not on anymore. They were on very briefly. We just saw, but they've stopped again. So Bipolar Express wins by 24 seconds from HPR. HPR very, very nearly absolutely screws up what would have been a brilliant race. So interesting to see that I said that the difference between 1 stop and 2 stop is negligible. Bipolar Express, he could have 1 stopped this race. He 2 stopped because he could. Because he had that free pit stop in the bag, but he could have easily 1 stopped this race anyway, Bipolar, but didn't need to in the end, and just played it safe and put on some lovely new fresh rubbery boots. HBR did 2 stop and committed to that. Good solid finish from him though in 2nd. Parafusio very nearly nicked himself an extra step on that podium. Fry and the Whiskers just outside with 5.6 seconds, and then Wooly, and then everyone else How's about that then? Right, I'm going to get me some drivers. Let's do that. So I need to go, where do I need to go now? I need to go here, don't I? 2 podium interviews, there's a lovely picture. I'm going to go and find me some drivers. I'll be back shortly, and I promise I'll actually turn it on so you can hear them this time. Back soon. Right, I've invited them all in, just waiting for them to get to us. Who have we got in there? Let's have a look and see if anyone's got in there yet. Guess who's joined us? The one and only Kaizan. Shall we have a quick chat with you before we get to the top 3, buddy?
Yeah, all good, mate.
What happened, man?
It's like, look, I checked my internet connection, it was going alright. It's just, for some reason, I think there's something about these lobbies, the Gran Turismo lobbies, but look, that's my opinion on it, but it just, I was going so well, being consistent, like I've been telling everyone that consistency is always the key, and pushing for a lap, and I said, I thought the whole, lobby had ended, and it was just me, so I was like, yeah. It's inconsolable at this point.
You were looking so good and so much in control, and you came out from your pit stop and it was all looking good. And you were 4.5 seconds clear, and then poof, just disappeared. You can't plan for that, really, can you? Gutted.
Look, yeah, it is what it is. It's just unfortunate, I'm afraid. And look, congratulations to the top 3. Those are the guys I have to compete against going up, so it is what it is. Move on to next week. Have to use this as my drop round. It just makes me even more hungrier.
Yeah, well, we'll see how it gets on next week. So, HPR. This is becoming a habit, mate.
I was lucky.
To be fair, I mean, there was a bit of carnage into turn 1. And I know that 1 or 2 people feel that there should have been a red flag, but for me, there was no actual real contact. No one kind of ploughed into each other. It was more a case of some people lost the back end and stuff. And I don't think it was red flag worthy. But some people lucked out from that, and you were one of them. You got really good opportunity, but you were so quick on that 2-stop as well. I mean, yes, it worked out very well for you with obviously Kaizan getting disconnected, but you kept it in there. But towards the end, that was close, right?
Yeah, that was close. On the start, actually, Bipolar, I think he have a bad start, so he bogged down, and then I was like, "Oh, this is my opportunity to overtake." But in the end, I think every car is there, and then the blocking the braking point. So I was like, "Oh, I will overshoot." That's why I will just go straight. There is no contact, but I still need to apologize because I might causing the havoc to them because they all have to back off to avoid incidents. So I'm very sorry for them. And then on the race itself, bad luck for Kaizen because he leads so well, and then he might win the race as well. So really unfortunate to him. And then my race is for again. It was like a survival racing, so I have to push every lap. until the end, so I can overtake every cars that been overtake me on the first lap. So it was actually very lucky. And then on the last lap with Parafuso, it was very fair, very nice battle. My tire is toast, so it's not strange that he can catch me up. But in the end, he was very fair enough. Although although they have the contact, so he just let me pass and then finish the race in one piece. So very thank you for him and very good sportsmanship to him also, powerful. So you are well done. And then congrats, Bipolar. I can't catch you. I really can't catch you.
You just don't. I mean, Bipolar, just it's insane how quick you are, buddy. Insane.
I might be a little bit in the wrong division, but
Do you think?
it doesn't. I feel like I'm not though, because then got Kaizen and HPR just joined. Rose is in here. There's 4 really fast guys, and Kaizen was the driver, I think, to beat. Really, honestly, he had good fuel tires, had a good lead coming out of pits, made it halfway. Like I did halfway too. So I got a little. I think I earned a podium tonight, but I think I was gifted a little bit the win. If I had to be fair and honest.
Certainly, I think I would agree with that statement. I think had Kaizen finished the race, I think it probably would have been Tyler's to lose. That said, though, you don't know what can happen. You seem to be much better at looking after the fuel and the tyres than Kaizen to an extent. So it actually might have fallen into your favour towards the end of the race. But alas, we don't get to find out because you just took the win. I've got to say though, I mean, when you were 29 seconds clear, I'm saying he's got a free pit stop. Why is he not taking it? Why is he not going to take this free pit stop? And then the time went down 26 seconds, 23 seconds, and I think at that point you must have gone, I'm going to take this just in case. And then you went in and took the free pit stop, and I was thinking, oh my god, he's actually not going to get out in front, and it was so close. And then in the end, you just disappeared off up the road.
2 things. I wanted to. The tires weren't terrible. I mean, obviously compared to HPR's fresh rubber, they weren't as good, and I was going to lose time. But I wanted to make sure I had good fresh tires for the last 10 minutes, and then on top of it, I saw a little bit of blue in the radar, and I didn't want to have worn rubber for that either. So that's kind of when it was like, yeah, just go in now.
I think you guys are in a quite unique position because you get to watch Division 3 on a Friday night and see what works and what doesn't work there. And then you get to watch the really quick guys before this race and find out what they do. And you can kind of tweak your plans, really, can't you? You can kind of go, well, I see them do that and that work. Let's give that a try. Yeah.
It's a little bit helpful, but, when it comes to these rain races, every single time you restart the lobby, you get something different. I haven't come across one lobby where it's like, oh, I know the shape of that rain. It's going to be exactly what I practiced yesterday. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then it also comes down to you have to execute too. Like you could practice all you want, but I get nervous when it comes race time. It takes me 4 or 5 laps to settle in. I mean, a lot of races I go backwards. Tonight, I was too eager to get off the handbrake, and I totally false started and put myself at risk. So. Yeah, it's all about race day. You really got to keep a cool head. You got to keep your consistency. You got to just kind of let it be like it's a practice, just with a whole bunch of angry dudes around you.
Yeah, completely agree.
I couldn't agree more on that one.
It's difficult because you in the sort of lead up to this. I mean, I can speak because obviously I spent quite a lot of time with the black flag drivers that were in it, and I see that they put hundreds of laps in before race day, and then you have an incident. I mean, I really felt for Wooly last week because I know how much work he put in the week before, and he got punted on the first lap after qualifying in the front 3 with you and Roses, and just thinking. It must be so destroying when you've put all that work in and you've looked at your tyres. You look at the tyres around, you're thinking, I can qualify in the top 3, top 4 here, and then you qualify in the top 4, and then it goes wrong, and then you find yourself in last. You just want to throw your steering wheel through a window, don't you?
Yeah, that's what I was feeling.
You get angry, and I felt for Kaizen. I've been there. I think we've all had a DC at the wrong time, and it always feels like in GT7, it feels like it's not right when you leave the pits. It's always like a minute after you leave the pits. I feel like it's very strange how it's consistent when I see it happen nowadays.
It is, isn't it? I mean,
Oh, look.
there's definitely one or two issues
Look,
with the lobbies, but what can we do?
Keep racing,
look, it
that's
is.
for sure.
Yeah, look, it is what it is at the end of the day, but look, Bipolar really gave me a really run for my money, and that's what gave me the drive to keep going consistent, keep driving fast, and like from the difference with Div 3 and Div 2, there's a massive difference. Our guys are a lot more consistent, and I had to up my game, and I felt on the track I was going well, especially when the tyres started to go. Then the DC, and I was like, no, I just wanted to get my disc and throw it in the bloody bin at that point. But, it is what it is. Just uses me drop round. But well done today, Bipolar. You took advantage of it. And HPR, well done.
Yeah, no, really,
Hey, welcome to DT. You
really
definitely deserve to be in here, Kazan. Just like your name, right? Every day a little bit better?
Yeah, 1% better. That's what it means.
Yeah, no,
I love it.
It is a brilliant way to look at life. 1% better every single day.
Absolutely. If you're in manufacturing, you know what Kaizans are.
Yeah. Well, it's actually a main motto for Toyota as well. So.
Yep. 1% better is awesome. When I heard you mention it on the stream the other night, it was great. Good for you. Good mental health stuff, man. Keep it up.
Yeah, thanks, man. Look, there's one honestly, I wouldn't be where I am today without Spud, because he's the guy that's really pushed me to get faster as well. Like, and those RSR guys, if they're in our group, when we know Spud's time, it's like, yeah, that's the standard. We got to push for that. And it's the same for HyPrix as well. Like, you guys set the standard for this competition, and it's making me right. This is the standard. I got to get better every single time. What are they doing that I'm not doing right? So props to you guys.
Props to all of you.
Thanks, man. That's
you
good to look at it.
And to be fair, you make it really easy for Chris and I to talk about the races, because you're on it from minute 1 to minute 60. You're on it, and it just brings so much joy to me, and probably not my family, because it's like 2 o'clock in the morning. They can hear me shouting downstairs at you lot, but tough.
Yeah. It's like 1 o'clock in the afternoon here in Australia, so around 12:30, and on Sunday. So
he's ready to have some gator bites and a beer.
Yeah. Well, we did have a storm here in Sydney last night, and that's probably what's caused the disconnection. It's a bit all over. It gets a bit all over the joint here in Sydney after a hot day when we get like massive, severe thunderstorms.
Oh, I can imagine.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, it was hot as yesterday, and then we had a huge thunderstorm, and bang, is what it is here. But like I said, well done, top 3. You guys just went on with it and just drive consistently. And it's these guys that are at the top, and not just Division 1, but in the guys of Division 2 who could race in Division 1, that make me a better driver. And that's why I entered this league, so I can become a better driver.
Cool. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing you guys in, obviously, next week, and then obviously in the World Championships, which is coming up very, very soon. But anyway, I've got to go to sleep. If I don't go to sleep, I won't get up in the morning, and then my family will just be doing shit around me. But guys, thank you so much. It's been brilliant talking to you. Catch up with you very, very soon. So there we have it. That was your top 3, along with a very disappointed but philosophical Kaizan. What a finish that was, though. Bipolar absolutely brought the big game. I'm not going to sit here and try and do the math and work out the points. I'll let Chris do all that stuff. We'll find out tomorrow where everybody sits, obviously with the drop round. It'll mix things up a little bit. Well, that's it for this weekend. No more Porsche Cup for another week. So I will see you next Friday for Division 3 final round at Interlagos. Really looking forward to that. And then exactly 1 week's time from today, we will be crowning the Division 2 champion as well, after celebrating, of course, the champion of Division 1. All that really is left for me to say is thank you very much for joining me. I've been Urban Pirate. This has been Black Flag Racing TV, presenting the GT champions HyPrix Porsche Cup. And it's been emotional.
Welcome to the